Hello, good evening. If you're in my time zone, good evening, good evening. Please drop a comment if you can hear me or if you can see me. Good evening. Hello, hello. Welcome, guys. Welcome. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box. I can see someone already liked the video. Thank you. Thank you. Let me know if you can see me and if you can hear me. Of course you can see me, but I want to know if you guys can hear me. Okay, thank you very much, Samuel. We're just going to wait for people to join in then. Hi, Abe Aduralere. Hi, Damilola. How are you? How's your social media break coming through? Hi, Amos Esther. Good evening. It's nice to have you guys on board. Are you fully back? Are you back now, or you just came to see everywhere, decide if we are worthy of your presence? Hi, Toluwashe. Hi, Abidemi. I'm really glad. Hi, Akiwumi. Oh, I've missed doing classes too. I really missed doing classes. Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So please drop comments in your groups and let people start to join. Please start to join. Drop comments so that we can have a significant number before we go ahead. So please. Um, hi, Tolulokbe. Hi, Ujunwa. Welcome, guys. So, okay, people are joining already. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. We're going to start in like the next 3 minutes, irrespective of the number of people we have on the call, so that all of us can go back. And then I also have another class immediately after this. So we're not going to be spending so long. Hi. Okay, so while we're waiting for people to join, if you attended all the classes that we have had from module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4. So okay, module 4 was the podcast. Module 5, module 6, then you're here in module 7. Please signify like you attended all of it. I don't want to make promises, but if you attended all of it, like, please signify. I want to see. You attended all of the classes. Okay, so we've had 5 live classes so far. This is going to be the 6th. Ochiwa, you attended everything. Like everyone, you didn't miss anyone. And you listened to the podcast too. You listened to the podcast too. Amazing. Okay, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Adomi Adekeye too. Yes, Adomi Adekeye was always sharing notes in our orb. Fadilat, you attended everything. Hey, God, are you okay? Well, I know you people, so I know that this set of people will not lie to me. Okay, so I have 3 people. So I have Uchunwa, I have Adeomi, I have Fadilat. Oh, sorry, Yowande. Okay, so for the 3 of you, I have a gift for you guys. You have, oh my God. Ojoano, you must have listened to the podcast. Adeomi, did you listen to the podcast? Fadilat, did you listen to the podcast? Walwati Feshola, you listened to the podcast. Okay, so for Fadilat, for Adeomi, for oh Uchiwa, I wish you had listened to the podcast. Like I want somebody was listening to everything. And then for Boluwatife, so for Boluwatife, you people like listen from module 1 to module 7. I'm going to give you guys free access to the replays of these modules, like all of them. I'm going to give you guys free access, and then okay, don't let me go. All right, everyone. Good evening. I am super glad to be here. I hope you're super glad to be here too. And should I introduce myself? My name is Orifunke Lawal. And honestly, it's been a long time coming. I've missed you people too. I've missed you. Left to me, we will keep running these classes, like we won't stop. But oh my God, I'm running on blood, not even fuel finishes. All right, so I am really glad, like you guys, we made it till the end, and that is and really I'm so glad. First of all, I want to appreciate every single one of you who have been showing up, whether you attended all of the live classes or not. If you attended at least, let's say 5, that's a significant percent. No, let me say 4. That's average. I want to celebrate you. Thank you very much for registering for the course, and thank you for showing up. I know that some of you guys shared with your networks, you shared with people, even if you had never attended anything by maybe you just, just let's attend, and then you've been showing up consistently. Like, it's so amazing, and then I am really glad I'm glad I did this. I have no regrets whatsoever that I did this. So Thank you guys for making it 100% worth it. We've been through models. My God, we've been through models. Our first module was self and identity awareness. We treated choosing and changing or switching a career path. We've treated personal and professional development. We've treated career clarity for multi-potentialites. We've treated, styling, outlook, and speech. We've treated workspace communication and posture. We've come a long way. Hey, God. What? We've come a long way. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. And then here we are for mindset positioning and mindset shift, positioning, and speech. Yes, we had styling, outlook, and speech in the last. If you didn't attend the last class, you missed. You really missed. And I liked taking the class on styling, outlook, and speech because it was going to be my first time of officially teaching people on that. It was going to be my first. I think for most of the models, like every time people ask me stuff around them, I was always like, I don't have the time, and I mean, I don't. It's a lot for me to decide that I want to give a lot out for free. It's a lot. It's too much for me. So it's always like I don't have the time, and then I'll have to organize something. But then this was just so. It was urgent. It was urgent in my spirit, and I knew that it was something that we had to organize. So please, if you're here, please just drop in your various hubs so that more people can join us. We need more people to join us. At least we should have up to 50 people on this call, so that we can move ahead. We can go ahead. So I am so glad that we are here. We are doing really fine. And so, um, as with regard to what we're supposed to do after a while, after the entire course, after you guys do um your final exams or your final tests. Okay, first of all, your final tests are not an indicator that I don't want anybody to come and meet me, because funny things really happen. I don't want anybody to come and meet me and tell me. So yes, now Fatila's Adeyemi, that was treated like in between the different models, especially when you get to workspace communication and posture and styling, outlook, and speech. So those models actually treated ethics and guidelines together. So that's why we didn't have it as a separate model. So I don't want anybody to take the exam and come and send me a message and tell me that I did not give them job. Please, I don't give out jobs, please, because really funny things happen. I say, people can't just come and be holding my neck and be saying that they not give me guinea, they not give me certificate. Please, so have mercy on me. So right, the lessons are supposed to test your knowledge. They're supposed to test your knowledge. We also have we also have a plan in the works where we have a community, right? We're looking at building an actual community for people. I mean, who may want to just go beyond the regular models that we've had so far. So I'm looking at us. Exactly, when it's not CCM, when it's not even CGP. So we're looking at having a community, and then the community is who is this person asking for OBJ? I don't know. I don't know. Whatever you see, you get. All right, so we're looking at having a community, and then it's going to be for a very few people, and then it's not going to be free. And I'm going to explain why it's not going to be free, because it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be like me mentoring people on a monthly basis, right? So it's a lot of work. It's not just going to be the general models that you have gotten. It's more like every month every month in the community, we are going to be focusing on a particular skill practically, right? So you get tasks, you get assignments. If you've taken any course from the academy before, this feels familiar to you. Like, this is very familiar, this is regular. So you have assignments, you have tasks, you have peer-to-peer reviews, you have projects that you need to work on a monthly basis, you have a feedback mechanism that I can, I need to be, I need a small number of people so that I will not go and faint. I'll not go and die before my time. Right. I just need a small number of people that I'll need to work with. So right. So the idea is that, because now I realize that it's most of what we've done so far are soft skills. Yeah. Yes. Please like the video. Please like the video. Like the video. So most of what we've done so far are soft skills, and then I understand that sometimes I don't want to say it's a chore, but it takes some level of effort and guidance to move from the level of learning something or learning about something to being able to do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why we in CGP, for instance, it's a 4 week course. You have the theory where you learn about designing with Canva, and then you also have the 3 week or the 21-day coaching part where you have to design every day and get feedback from your instructors. So it's easy for you to attend a class, attend a course, but it does not always necessarily translate into being able to do it. So I can tell you that, oh, you need to learn how to speak in public, but it does not mean that if I put you in front of an audience, you will be able to talk to them effectively or adequately. Do you understand? So the idea is that at least over the next couple of months, I'm able to train a couple of people in core skills, like public speaking. If we're doing public speaking 1 month, we'll be doing communication skills in next month. We'll be doing negotiation skills in the following month. We'll be doing meeting your KPIs, because of course that's a skill. You need to learn how to meet your KPIs in the following month. Major segments that young career professionals often have problems with. So that's, and then of course when you're joining, you get access to the modules at a discounted price that other people who are not members of the community will not have. You get, so I'll give us further details about that later. And then we'll just start with the number of people who are here. All right. So, hi everyone. Good evening. You're welcome to YPAP Model 7, Mindset Shift, Positioning and Negotiation. And I want to say I am super glad for you. Like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for making it this far. This this session is a round of session. It's supposed to give you, it's supposed to help you to replay. Can you guys hear me? Are we here? Can you hear me? Because I'm not seeing comments anymore. I need to be sure that I've not gotten lost. So this model is super important because it's going to serve as a replay, a reminder of other lessons that you've learned during. All right, thank you so much, thank you very much, during the course of the program. Yes, so all right, thank you so much, thank you very much. So that is why we're here. And why mindset shift? Mindset shift is super important. It's so important for us to deal with this, at least before we leave this program, because I've found out that for many people who do not, let me use the word scale in their careers, for many people who do not grow, for many people who stay on the same um or the same level for a long time, for many people like that, when you reach out to them and then you try to find out what the problem could be, you find out that it has to do with their mindset. it has to do with their mindset. It has to do with how they think. It has to be do with how they view themselves and how they view the world. And mindset is so intriguing. The kind of mindset you have is so intriguing, so much that sometimes you can have money and you may have the wrong mindset, and then you'll find out that you're basically running in circles and you're not making a headway because the mindset has not been fixed. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to explain anyway. So it's like, oh, you can keep buying courses, you can keep taking, you know being in different places and attending different events and seminars, but if your mindset is faulty, it's going to affect how much you can do and how far that you can go. So the mindset is it's super important. It's extremely important. Like, it's not something that can be corrected in just one live class. Right? I like to give disclaimers like this. It's not something that can be corrected in just one live class. It will not be corrected in one life class, because you didn't develop the things that the mindset that you have. You didn't develop all of those things in just 1 week. You didn't develop them in 3 days, right? You These things are habits, right? Mindsets that you've had possibly from when you were a kid, that you do not even understand. So for instance, if you grew up in a setting or in a society or in an area where they tell you to only focus on as a lady, that I'm talking about as a lady now, and they tell you to only focus on fields that are lady like. They tell you have to be like a lady. These are the topics that sorry these are the subjects, these are the fields that you should focus on. And then if you do not focus on fields like that, they're telling you stuff like that you're being a tomboy. They're telling you that no man will want to marry you. If you grew up in, or if you were born in that kind of system, you will find out that you would the rate at which you apply for things that are male dominated will be reduced compared to somebody who grew up in a system where anything you want to do, you can do it. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do it. You can, whether it's a male dominated area or a female dominated area or job or field. Compared to those kind of people, one person would be more audacious when it comes to applying for things, right? Another person would be more what's it called, more withdrawn when it comes to applying for things like that. So that's a certain kind of mindset. So a lot of the things we think are, oh, that's just what I think, that's just how I feel. They are symptoms of mindsets that have existed in our lives for years or for decades. Their mindsets, how you grew up, how some, and they're not. Sometimes it's not. You don't know. It may just be that somebody just told you something. Somebody said something to you at some point in time, or maybe you tried learning something new at some point in time, and then somebody just made gesture of you like, you want to learn this kind of thing, and you just shut your mind, and it forms your mindset, and then you find out that you don't want to try new things, because when you were 7 years old and you tried a new thing, one auntie Shalewa in your area laughed at you, and then it just destroyed your affinity to try out new things. So these are really, they're really key things. For if you grew up, or if you belong to a sort of family or anywhere where you're castigated for asking for things. For instance, you will find out that you will find it hard to ask for things. You will find out that you're in the what's it called, in the workplace. You're in the workplace, for instance, and then you don't want to ask for a raise even if you're worth it, because you come from a system that that believes that if you ask, then it means you're being desperate, right? So it's it's a lot, like, and we have different mindsets. A lot of people have different mindsets, and the first step to fixing faulty mindsets is identifying faulty mindsets. I want you to know that. Like, the first step to fixing faulty mindsets is identifying faulty mindsets. So you need to be able to sit down, like consciously decide, okay, so these are the faulty mindsets that I have, and this is how they've been affecting me, right? And this is how I want to fix it. I have an Instagram live this Friday on my personal page, and then I'm going to be teaching on how to identify and deal with money making mindsets, or making mind blocks. Yes, making mind blocks, because sometimes what is stopping you from making money, it's just one mindset that you've had since you were like 15 or 16 or whatever. So, Akiwumi said the part of asking, can we classify it as insecurities? It's insecurities is not encompassing. Sometimes it's not an insecurity. It might just be a mindset. That's how it is. That is how I am. That is how I exist. Right. So you need to identify faulty mindsets. Another way that you want to identify, or you want to attack faulty mindsets, is to look at the systems, the mental systems that you hold dear, the things that uh I don't get that, but the things that you hold dear, like how you think about certain things. Sometimes they are not the fact that you've always held a belief dear, the fact that everybody in your circle believes that thing, the fact that that is what people do, I mean, or people think around your area, does not mean that it is a right kind of mindset. So you need to identify faulty mindsets that can exist in your life, right? When it comes to topics, when it comes to subjects, when it comes to spaces, especially, right? So another example, like, this is like, I'm just talking about, okay, no, I'm just going to leave this for my Instagram live on Friday, because it's more suited to that, right? It's more suited to that. So you need to be able to deal with mindsets, and then I'm going to be talking about some of the mindsets that you need to inculcate, right? You need to inculcate, or you need to deal with anyone anyhow that it just goes. And the number one mindset that, sorry guys. Okay, all right. So the number one mindset that you need to deal with, and that I have had to deal with too, but I know that everyone needs to deal with, is expecting that things will often happen immediately, or things will often happen suddenly, right? And I'm trying to I'm trying to think about a way to explain this in such a way that you understand clearly, and it doesn't invalidate what you've been trying to work on in a while. But you need to come to that point where you agree that sometimes the actions that you take now, are investments, right? They are investments that will sometimes take time to yield results. Are you guys together? Right? So they will sometimes take time to yield results. It's understanding the essence of time. So when it comes to growth in general, you can't bring an MMM mentality here. Like, you people know MMM now. You can't bring an MMM mentality here. You can't bring the mentality of 40% returns in 1 week here. You will crash. You can't bring that
kind of mentality where you want everything to just happen suddenly, everything to happen fast. Like, okay, so I always run away from people like that. And I always pray, God, please don't bring these people like that to me. There's certain people who feel like once they've taken your course once, everything, everywhere will be opening, everywhere. I'm not Jesus. I'm not Jesus. Everything will just be opening. So they'll just come, and then this kind of people will think that, okay, because they've paid you now and they've done the course, then everywhere will be opening. Then once everything will now be does not open, it's not like that's how they do. They're just making mouth there. Go see cotton shame there. There's not please, it's so important, right? Because it takes time. Like it's a season of it's understanding seasons, and seasons thrive in time. Time thrives in process. So for some of you, you would realize that the things that you are learning, the things that you have learned, you've been through YPAP now, and then you expect that oh yeah, Ishayan is straight. And well, for some people, it will happen like suddenly. For some of you, you would need to take time. You will need to keep growing. You will need to keep developing yourself, right? It takes time. So that mindset of suddenness, and if away from the workplace as well, away from the workplace, it also you need to be able to apply it in your life, in other aspects of your life. For instance, somebody who is you really just left. You really just left school last year, and then you want to be a millionaire already, and then you're comparing yourself with somebody who has been in that system for like 15 years, and then you see them, and really, how will that work? You just be putting pressure on God. You gotta be praying every time, like every song you gotta be praying. God, by the time God should just see you, just come to church again, or so you're going to mark attendance. God just be like, Angel Michael, please, what can we do? Please, can you just tell this? Maybe God is just you know what? Just tell Orifunke to tell that to just calm down for your life. Please, right? You need to understand time. That mindset that things have to happen immediately you invest in them. It's an mindset, and it's something that you need to fix. And it's also a problem in the workplace when people are building their careers, because you find out that you just started, like your entry level, like you just started your career, and then the next thing you are the next thing you're eager, like you're complaining that they're not how I don't know how to put this in, because I don't want this to be misunderstood, right? I don't want this to be misunderstood, but somebody who just started, right? You just started learning, you just started growing. Let's say you got an internship position, for instance, and then you just find out that they are not paying me very well, they are not doing anything, they are asking me to do all this kind of that. So because you just started, and then you're not considering the fact that you still need to grow to be able to develop capacity that you will need to be able to earn more. Because when people earn more, they don't just earn more simply because they're earning more. They earn more because they have the capacity to earn more, right? Money responds to capacity. So as you increase capacity, you develop you develop your your, should I say, psychological bone, or should I say spiritual bone, to receive more. So you're just starting. You've not been on a job for up to 1 year or up to 6 months. You've not been on a job. You don't know a lot of things about how things work. If they give you a project and say carry out this project from beginning to end, you won't be able to do it. But you're there saying that they don't respect you, and then before you know it, you are telling people, I'm looking for another job, or I'm looking for another. Some people who are on jobs tell me that they are looking for more jobs. especially people that just started. I mean, I'm not talking about people who have experience, because of course, if you have experience, that's a different case. But when people who just started and they've been on a job for like 3 months or like 5 months, and they're telling me I'm looking for another job, I'm often like, what's the problem? What exactly is the problem? I understand that there are certain cases where you should leave if they are being toxic to you. You should leave. If it's a toxic place, if it's affecting your mental health, you see that one, you should leave. If you're being sexually harassed, you should leave. But if it is a case of you thinking, oh, like I'm doing this, I'm doing this, they are not paying me a lot, I'm looking for a job, or I cannot wait here, I want to go, I want to go. If that's a case, then it is a faulty mindset. Right, it's a faulty mindset. I remember reading a thread on Twitter some weeks back, rather, a thread on Twitter where this person said that when he just started his journey, his career journey, he used to work with one of the big four. Some of you might have seen the thread. And then one day, I think a supervisor, somebody at the top, came to meet him, and they asked him for feedback about how his work was doing and all of that. And they asked him for feedback, and then he said, "Oh, his work is going fine. It's just that he doesn't like to pack files. Like that was like a menial job in the office. He just does not like to pack files. Like it's so stressful." And then if you've been an intern, you understand this. You understand this, especially in a very regular organization. He said, "I just don't like to pack files." And then the person asked him, "So, what do you expect to pack the files? Like, how much are you bringing into the organization? Who do you expect to pack the, if it's not you, is it the consultants we have who bring in more money so they earn more money, or who exactly?" And then that was the end of the conversation. Right, that was the end of the conversation. So you need to understand the place of growth. Right, you need to understand the place of time. You need to understand the place of process. Things will not just happen simply because you just did them. Right, they need you to keep doing them, and you keep doing them. So please don't I'm going to keep saying this mentality where you have put 50K, and then you're looking for 50 million in 2 weeks. Are you not even scared? If you experience that kind of growth, won't you crash mentally? Won't you? Abe, won't you crash? So that's super important, right? So now another mindset that you need to develop as a as somebody who is, whether you're just starting or you've been in the system for a while, another mindset that you need to develop is, how exactly does this company make money, and where do I come in the grand scheme of things? So it's putting yourself in the shoes of the company, understanding who you are, and understanding what you do, and where what you do comes into play. Now, I'm sure you likely have read this or learned this, heard this somewhere before, but every profit-based company often often focuses on two things, right? Majorly, right? Majorly. Number one is they focus on things that make them money. And number two, they focus on things that save them money. And that's why you find out that people who make money the most are people who have, mostly people who bring money into the organization. Can you relate? Can you relate? Think about people who are at the top in organizations that you possibly know, you've heard of, that they earn a lot. You may think they don't do anything, or you may think that they don't do anything, they just come to the office. I've been there before. Actually, when I started coming out, actually when I started growing rather, and then you just find out that it's like it's me that I'm doing all the work here. All these people that are your bosses, all these people that are your bosses like this, they will just come to work like 2 p.m. They will leave by 4 p.m. And then now what? You not be like, and they're paying them a lot. They're paying them too much. They're paying them too much. They're paying them too much. But those people, right? When you look at it, you find out that they bring a lot to the table, right? And they earn more for the company, and that is why they can they can earn more. Anyway, taking that away from taking that away from the idea of process and all of that, but you need to keep consistently asking yourself, how does this company make money, and what exactly can I mean, where exactly do I fit in, right? Because if your company makes money but the work that you do does not have a significant impact, or a no, it doesn't even have to be direct, but it doesn't have a significant impact, then it means that you are easily dispensable. And it's why sometimes when they're about laying people off, they lay a lot of people off. They start to tell, okay, this team, what are they doing? They're not doing anything. Oh, Shade, what is she doing? She's not doing anything. Remove her. What is that one doing? She's not doing anything. Remove her. Right? So it's super important. And what will this help you to do? It would help you to put things into perspective. It would help you to do a regular self-analysis. So oh, okay, this is the company I am. These are the things that I want to get involved in, so that I can improve my capital, right? So I can improve my work capital, so that I'm not saying that nobody's indispensable anyway, but you want to be able to ask questions. How is the company making money? So the team I belong to, how do we come into that? How do we come into play? After that, what I currently do, how exactly do I come into play? How valuable I am, right? And it has to be a consistent thing, not just when you're starting, but when you are growing, right? Because if you're not giving anything to the company, right, if you're not saving money for the company or making money from the company, it means it is going to be so easy for them to let you go. Like, it's so easy. They're just going to do that. You're not making money, you're not saving money. So what exactly are you doing? So you need to develop this kind of mindset, right? Another mindset that you need to develop is the time saving mindset. It's the time saving mindset. So I think the second place I worked, I used to have a lot of work. My God, I used to have plenty work that I would work at in the office, and then I would go back home. I carried There was a particular work and then I did for like 1 week straight. And then after I did the work, my boss just called me and he was like, why did you put yourself through all of this stress? When you could have just asked the simple question, how can I get this done faster? It's like, and then he showed me, I can't forget. Then he just showed me a code to use. And when I took 1 week, I think I told this story on my WhatsApp status, like maybe like 2 or 3 years back. It took like it just showed me a code. And what I did for 1 week, I did in less than 2 hours. I'm not kidding. Like, I was shocked. Like, what? So, do you know what this had done for me, right? I had spent 1 week doing something, and I'm not even finished though. It wasn't like I'd finished. I spent 1 week trying to get a particular job done. It wasn't the only thing I had to do that week. I had other stuff to do, compulsory KPIs that I needed to meet up on that week. So that meant that for me to have developed, for me to have taken that long to I never finish. But for me to have taken that long to get that task done, it meant that other KPIs were also falling apart. Do you understand me? Other KPIs were. It means that I thought I was working on, I had spent all my time on it, it wasn't working. Like I did not finish doing that one. So if they wanted to mark me, I cannot get 100%. My regular KPIs that I was supposed to meet on a weekly basis, those ones weren't working either. I did not do them because I was trying to focus on the one. So my boss was like, "You could have just asked that. Is there a faster way of doing this thing?" Like I would have just gotten it done in less than 2 hours. I would have forgotten it totally. Right, and it taught me so much. So after that period, whenever my boss gives me a task that looks like, oh my god, this task is a lot, it is a lot, it is a lot, the first thing I would do would be to ask him, is this is there a faster way? Is there a faster way of me doing this? It's okay, you can do this, you can do this. And it's amazing because I'm still young. I'm still young, oh please. But I was much younger. I was in entry level, right? And I could ask any question I wanted to. If you're an entry level, you need to seize that opportunity because then people can easily make allowances for you. Oh, she's just growing. Oh, she's just entering. It's just starting. You can ask as many foolish questions. Now, I'm not saying you should ask foolish questions, but you can ask as many ridiculous questions as possible, and then you will get answers because they expect that, oh, you're actually growing and you're actually learning. But by the time you're a lot older, it just gets to a point where nobody will teach you because nobody expects that you don't know that kind of thing. You're just like, how did you not get to this stage? Nobody will sit down and teach you. And you not get to the point where it feels like you're not growing. I'm not it doesn't take initiative, it doesn't save time. So it's so important, like time saving. Even if there's nobody, even if there's no superior that you can ask, like you need to be able to sit down and ask yourself, how is there any way before you jump on a particular role or a particular task that you need to do? First of all, sit down, like how exactly can I ensure that I do this thing faster? Is there a faster way? And I had jobs then to where my boss would give me a job like plenty work, and then I'll go meet him like, "Ah, is there a faster way?" And he'll be like, "No, there's no faster way. You have to do this one the right way." So I will know that one, okay, this is it. But it's so it's so important for you to be able to keep thinking, is there a faster way that I can do this thing? Is there a better way that I can do it so that I can still get the job done? So you can also meet up on all your other KPIs that you need to meet up on. You can even rest. Be carrying work to the house, and then they won't be saying that she doesn't take initiative, because that's one of the problems. That's one of the things companies look into a lot of the time when they are trying to assess you. Companies often have appraisals, quarterly appraisals especially, and then they ask questions like, are you a good culture fit? Do you fit into the company, or do you always look like a square peg in a round hole? They ask questions like that. They ask questions like, oh, is she proactive? I mean, does she do things? Why am I using she? If I'm using she because most of the people I interact with are women. I need to clear that. So they they can ask questions. Okay, is he proactive? Does he do things before he's asked, or do we have to tell him, oh, please do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this? It's proactivity is also a mindset that you need to develop on. I'm not going to focus on that. And then they also want to ask, I mean, does he take initiative? Does he save us time? Taking initiative, a part of taking initiative is saving yourself time. They give you a task and then you get it done quickly. You quickly. So that is another mindset that you need to develop. Please, a time saving mindset. Right, are we together? Please, are we together? Let me know if you're with me. Please drop a comment so I know that you guys are with me. You're following actively. Yes, is there a faster way that I can get the job done? And then I will get the correct result. Not you will do you will just do any and then you not to get the correct one. What is your gain? Yes, so it's for most of the time there's a faster way that you can get the job done. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Okay. So yeah, another mindset that you need to develop when it comes to um, the workplace is the mindset of confidence, or let me use the word courage. Yes, you need. I'm going to use this in two areas. I'm going to talk about two. I'm going to talk about courage and believing in yourself. I say this often. I don't like, motivational speaking. If you call me to come and teach on one topic about believe in yourself, I'm likely going to turn it down. Please, please, please. I don't do that. But the place of believing in yourself cannot be overstated. Right? It cannot be overstated. Olani says, I feel learning to ask questions will go a long way. Yes, you need to ask questions. You don't understand something, ask. How is this thing done? Ask. Has somebody done it before? Ask. Do they do it on a normal day? Ask. How do they do it? Always ask questions. Right, so you need to develop a courage mindset and a mindset where you believe in yourself, even if you feel like you don't have experience or you don't have skill. It is going to be it's going to help you. So now, this is what I believe. I believe that nobody is useless. I am not useless. Nobody is so useless. If there's anybody who appears to be useless, a lot of times it's just a case of untapped potential or unmonitored potential. A lot of the time, most of the time, like it's just that nobody has been able to tap their potential and monitor them or mentor them into into okay, yes, and nobody has been able to mentor them into achieving their full potential. That's just it. So it's so important for you to be able to believe in yourself, because from time to time, when you believe in yourself, God, I don't even like the way I'm saying it, but I'm going to, it's so important for me to mention it. But when you believe in the value that you have to offer, whether it is latent value or it is obvious value, when you believe in the value that you have to offer, then it shows in how you decide, how you proactively take up roles in the organization. It shows up. So I also learned this when oh my god, that might say when I was growing. I'm still growing though. But I had to learn this early on. So when we're on the team, and then my team lead says, okay, so we need to do this thing. We need to get this thing done. We need to create, let's say we need to create a content calendar, we need to create a plan, we need to create a this, and then it says, okay, so who would like to do it? I had superiors, right? I had people who had been there before me. So it goes, who would like to do this? And before anybody says, okay, I'm going to do this, before anybody who even has more experience, I'll say, okay, I'm going to do it. It's not something I've done before. It's not something I have done before. So it's not like I have confidence in the fact that I have done it before. But I know that even if I would rather fail, I would rather do it and fail than not do it at all. And then there's no possibility to know if I could have done it well or not. Right? So if it says, okay, is there anybody that wants to take this thing up? I'm going to raise my hand, like I'm going to do it. It's not like I've done it before. It's not like I know how to do it. It's not like I have an idea. So after I said, okay, Orifunke is going to lead us on this project, then I'll now start saying, okay, so then I'll now start meeting my superiors. Please, what do you think I should do with this one? I don't know how to do it. Please, how can I do this? How can I deal with this? So they'll give you information. They'll tell you, okay, I think you should do it this way. I think you should do it this way. I think you should do it this way. At the end of the day, you would likely have earned goodwill from your boss, and you would have gained the experience. Okay, thank you. When I was young, okay, thank you. You would have gained the experience of doing something or leading a project. So, are we together? I hope you're together. So, you would have gained goodwill, because once you take up, a lot of people, they're always running from responsibilities. They always run from responsibilities. If they say, who wants to do this one? Just be like this. Who wants to do it? Who wants to do it? Now, I'm not saying you should take up every responsibility. That's why you have to be thinking on your feet when you're at work, in the workplace. You have to be on your feet. You have to be thinking on your feet. So if there's a role that you know can give you relevant experience, can also give you relevant goodwill, you want to volunteer for it if it's not going to be too much on your time or what you personally do. But if it's a very menial job, like they said, there should be one, we need somebody to be sweeping, we need somebody to be organizing office party. Please, you get the idea. Please, it's that office party that used to annoy me the most, because I once wasted productive time planning. I've wasted productive time planning office party before, so I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I kind of and I don't like organizing parties and all of that. I hate it so much. Right. So it's not the one that will say, okay, who wants to do this thing? You know that this thing can, it can give you relevant experience, it can improve you greatly, and then they're just like this. You're not doing anything. You're just so so laid back. You're so laid back. It is not the right mindset to have. It is not the right mindset to have. So can somebody list the mindset that we've just treated? So you need to have the mindset. You need to have the mindset of taking responsibility, taking responsibility, and yes, not unproductive responsibilities. Please, not just gonna be taken as a, and they are looking for somebody that is going to go and see somebody's wife gave birth. They are looking for volunteers to. I'm not saying that is wrong. That is absolutely fine, right? But always think about responsibilities that you want to take up in terms of priorities with respect to your own career growth. Don't just go and take anything anyhow, everything and say they are cooking. They're looking for people that you go. You go there. That your mommy is a caterer. You go there. You say you can do all this. Please. All right. So um yes, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that, okay, I can actually do this even if I have never done it before. There's nothing you cannot do. That's one thing I've learned. There's nothing that you cannot do. And it's something that I had to learn, because sometimes when it comes to things that I feel like, oh, I mean, I've not done this before, it's just like I eventually find out that it's something that I can do. I just need somebody to teach me, and there are people who can teach me. So I need to learn. I need to learn. All right, so I'm going to pause on mindset there, and then I'm going to move on to positioning and then negotiating, so that we can call this a day. Okay, so now let's talk about positioning. Positioning is super important, and then I want to talk about offline positioning and online positioning. And if you're here, I would recommend the book Lost Star. Is it Lost Star? Yeah, I've been lost tree. I would recommend the book Lost Star by Emmanuel Faith. It's a book on personal branding, and it is an amazing book. It's just 1,000 naira. It did not ask me to do this advertisement I'm doing, but it would really, really help. It would absolutely help. Please go and get, it's just 1K, and then it's going to increase it to 3K by the end, like in a couple of weeks. So please go and buy it. It's so important. You would understand personal branding from it. You understand personal branding from it. Ah, see, you will understand. But please go and buy the book. I know the spelling. I know the spelling. Is the this thing is the pronunciation that is always okay. So it's Luster. All right. So it's so important for. Can you guys? It's not lobster or Luster. People are already spelling it. So Lustre. Lobster. Lost, like luster, like something that is shining. You shine everywhere in real life, in the workplace. So please get the book, get the book, get the book. All right, so all right, that's it. So now, when it comes to positioning, there are two major places in today's world where you need to consider positioning. And then you want to consider positioning in the workplace. And then the second place you want to consider positioning is online. It is online positioning in the workplace, and it is online. Not everybody may need online positioning. Some people are not online and they're doing fine, but you will need offline positioning, right? You will need offline positioning. And one way to focus on positioning offline, positioning in the workplace, and it's always, so how do I put this in such a way that you will understand clearly? We already talked about styling, outlook, and speech. So if you have your notes on that, I would need you to go back and read it, go through it, because a large part of what we discussed in our last class was on positioning. It would help with positioning. So now, what do you want to focus on in positioning is, um number one, exactly what is rewarded in the organization that you work in. what what attitudes are rewarded in the organization that you're currently working in, so that when you are trying to position yourself, you will not just be positioning yourself anyhow. You know, sometimes, right, positioning, you have an idea of positioning in your head that you feel like this is what works, but you now get to work with certain organizations, and you find out that what you thought worked in, or works in general, is not what works there. So you need to study your company, the organization where you're working, and then you want to ask yourself that how okay, I'm going to if I'm going to look for the link, and if anybody has the link, they can actually just post in the comments. They can post, or although we'll share in the ops later on. Anyway, we'll share in the ops later on. Right, so you want to consider the organization. What kinds of attitudes are rewarded in the organization? There are certain organizations where they reward people. Of course, this one is regular, right? But they reward people who are more outspoken better. Right. So if you're the kind of person that you feel like you're not outspoken, I don't like to talk, I don't like to be out there, but you know that is the kind of attitudes that they reward in the organization, it means you have to start practicing how to be out there, how to be outspoken. So if you're doing, let's say, a weekly project review or a monthly project review, for instance, and then they're like, okay, so who on the team would like to do the presentation and talk about how our week was, you will not shy away from it. You have to talk about it, because that is one of the ways that you position yourself. It means that you understand what you're doing, and then you can also communicate what you're doing. You can communicate what you're doing. So it's so important for you to be able to understand the kinds of attitudes that are rewarded in your organization. Sometimes they are the same across boards, across different organizations. Sometimes they are not. They are peculiar to different organizations, right? So you want to be able to position yourself. That's number one. Number two, your team lead or your manager, like depending on the kind of organization you work in, some organizations, you have a team lead. Sorry, you have a supervisor, you have a team lead, you have a manager. Some people, you only have a manager. Some people, you have a you just report to anybody, sha, right? But irrespective of whoever it is, that irrespective of wherever, what kind of place it is, sorry, you don't think it's, I think I lost my network for a bit. Can you guys hear me? Please drop a comment if you can hear me. And also like the video, please. I think I've lost my network. Okay, okay. Oh, okay, okay. All right. Okay, I can see your comments. Thank you very much. So your team, whoever it is you're reporting to, your team lead, your manager, or whoever it is, are not people you should be running away from because they have decision making power. I know that sometimes you don't like who you are reporting to. Honestly, that's normal. It is absolutely normal. You don't like them for different reasons, but your team lead, okay, I'm when I mean team lead, I'm talking about whoever you report to and whoever has decision making power on your promotion in the company or your pay raise in the company. They are not people you run away from. There are people you need to develop a working relationship with, because as somebody who is just starting, a lot of time, most of the time, not most of time, most of the time, you will not have access to the boardrooms where decisions are being made on your behalf. You will not have access to them. So, whatever decision the company makes on your behalf or the company makes for you will stem from what who you are reporting to says about you. And that's why you see that some people stay in companies for a long time. They don't get promoted, they don't get anything. They don't get, and it's not like they're not doing the work. They're doing the work, they're growing, they're developing. This is not in all industries anyway, but in some companies they're doing the work. But the only problem is that the person who speaks on their behalf doesn't speak well on their behalf. And if the fact that the person does not speak well on your behalf doesn't mean that they are saying bad things about you. You know, right? Like a person may not speak well on your behalf, but they may not be saying bad things about you either. They are not just saying what they should or what you should, what the what the board needs to hear for them to raise you or for them to promote you. So it's so important for you to develop a working relationship. That's one. In fact, it's super. But that's, if I don't even take this way, if you want to take any other positioning tactic, you want to take it for granted. This particular one, don't take it for granted, because no amount of speaking, no amount of taking up a role or speaking in meetings or dressing well, no amount, all of those are amazing, but no amount of all of that will work if the person who has the decision making power is just looking at you like, oh. Do you understand? So it's so important. Please, that's like a core positioning level that you need to get to. You need to you need to get to know, okay, not get to know them, like, but you need to be able to position yourself excellently with them. One of the ways you can position yourself with these people is regularly ask them, oh, is there anything you want me to do? Like, especially when you've done your work, is there anything you want me to do? Or is there anywhere I can come in? Show that you're the problem solving kind of person. Is there anything I can do better? Is there anything that I can do better? Is there anything that I can help out with? Regularly being in communication with them, because communication facilitates positioning. Please take note of that. Frequent communication facilitates positioning. Think about people who are even online that are positioning themselves online. There's a form of or there are forms of communication, whether it's written, whether it's spoken, but there are forms of communication that are at work. Right, there are forms of communication that are at work. So you want to keep being in communication. Is there anything I need to do? Is there anything I need to work on? Oh, I found this. I think it might be helpful for the team. This and this and this and this and this. And another way to position yourself is also to share regular reports. We discussed this, I think, in module 3 or thereabouts. It's to share regular reports. So they've given you a work, a job. Please don't be the person that they have to follow up on before you give an update. In the workplace, please don't be the person that I had to learn this. uncomfortably. But don't be the kind of person they have to follow up on. They're always following up on you. Then it doesn't push you in a good light. It means that you're not serious. Sometimes you're not able to meet a deadline, but the only thing that will save you is that you have you have shared a report. Okay, this is where I've gotten to. These are the things that I am going to do, and these are the things that I intend to do. You're giving them updates, you're sharing them reports. Oh, at the end of today, this is what I did. Also, a weekly report, because I always advise weekly reports. A weekly report also lets them know or puts them in the loop of what you have achieved over that week. Whoever you're reporting to has a lot of things that they're trying to do. Please, are we together? Are you learning something? Whoever you're reporting to has a lot of things that they are trying to do. They have communication bombarding them. They have text messages, calls, meetings here, meetings there, meetings there. So it means that there's a huge chance that unintentionally in their heads they are mentally, let me put it this way, in their heads the level of your work, the degree of your work is underestimated in their head. Does it make sense to you? Like, it's underestimated in their head in such a way that they know you're working, but they just don't know how much you're working or the quality of work that you are doing. They just know you're working. Do you get? They just know, oh, she's working, but they don't know the quality of work that you're doing. They don't know how much you're doing because there's no trail. But if you send them a weekly report and then they look through it and like, you actually did a lot this week, or you did a lot, sometimes they don't even know that you've done a lot until they read it in the report. So, oh, she actually did this, so we did this. And when you're writing reports, you don't just write in terms of what you did, write in terms of what you achieved. That's what you did achieved. So if you say that you, for instance, let me use the analysis of packing files. Oh, you packed 20 files this week. That is something that you did, right? But you want to think about it in terms of what you achieved. So you can say, okay, so I packed 20. I'm not saying you should be packing files, so I'm just giving an instance. So you can say something like, okay, so I packed 20 files this week, assisting so and so person in delivering so and so results on the team. So if the files that you're packing, for instance, like the case that I explained earlier, where I told you the guy was packing files and then he was like, I doesn't like to pack files, and they were like, we have consultants. So it meant that the guy had to pack the files so that the consultants will be able to work. If the consultants had to pack the files themselves, they may not be able to achieve as much as they could. So because it was packing the files, it was making a particular chain of the work easier for them. So it was also making it, them able to achieve results for the company. So you see how we have come to where I'm saying that nobody's useless, irrespective of what you do in the company. Nobody's useless. You must always find a way to link what you do, what you have been assigned to an achievement. So that person has helped the company grow because it has helped the consultants to save time and energy that would otherwise have been wasted if they had to do the packing themselves. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So don't just talk in terms of, oh, I did this, I wrote 2 articles. I No, no, no. Always find an achievement. Right, always find an achievement, and it may also help if you have a system. I know not everybody may be able to have this, but it may also help if you have a system that helps you to measure growth. So if you packed 2 files last week, right, and then you packed 4 files this week, is there a sort of way that packing more files this week has increased productivity level? Let's say we increase productivity level by 10%. That's one of the things I also had to learn. Let me quickly mention that Always learn to think in terms of numbers and percentages. Yes, we'll come back to that in negotiation. Learn to think in terms of numbers and percentages. So, regularly sending reports, it keeps them in the loop. Oh, she did this, because there are certain things that they don't even know, or they don't remember that you've done. They just know you're working. But when you send regular reports to them, they just know, okay, you actually did this, or she did this, she did this, she did this, she did this, she did that. Oh, all right, she's working, and she's working well, right? So that's another way to position yourself. Then online, I would have mentioned, I don't want to take so much time, but please just get the book on I'm on Facebook, Lost Star. It's amazing. I'm going to get the art of social writing, my ebook, shared to all the ops as well, so that you can read that as well. It's free, don't worry. It's free, it's free, it's free. Like, salvation is free. So I'm going to get there. If you've not read it yet, I'm going to get it shared to all the ops. It will teach you how to represent your brand online through content creation and writing. It's super important. So please, I'm going to get that shared as well. So now let's move on to negotiation. Let's please like this. If you've not liked this video, please like the video. I want to see the likes going up. All right, so let's talk about negotiation, right? Negotiation, I know that a lot of people find it hard negotiating. I do too, or I used to too. Like, negotiating, you will need negotiating when you're taking a job and when you need a promotion. So let's talk about negotiating when you're taking a job. Now, when you want to take a job, you're going for an interview. I don't want to believe there's anybody like that here, but don't ever go to an interview and tell them that anything you have, give me. No, please. You need to do your research on what is on what is attainable in your industry. As a young person who is growing, you cannot afford not to research. You need research like mad. You need to learn how to research. So i- it's a bit hard. It's a bit harder in a climb like Nigeria, because people are often very private about what they earn, for vital reasons. Yes, I mean, you don't want to say, because before somebody that has never talked to you in 10 years will come and meet you and say that you should give them urgent 2K. Do you understand? Like, vital reasons. But in places abroad, they easily say what they earn, so you know what is attainable by industries. So in industry A, this is what we are, this is how much, this is the average. In industry B, this is the average. In industry C, this is the average. So when you're entering into a company, you're going for an interview, always ask people around it. Like, that's why it's good to have a career mentor that you can easily reach out to and ask questions. What is the average amount? I've had jobs like that. So I'm talking. So what's the average amount that I should charge for this role? The writer, okay, charge this, charge this, charge this. Because, like, this is so important. Like, the amount that you earn, a lot of times, the amount that you give them, the company will still try to price it down. Yes, you can find salary range online for some industries, not all industries, but you can find salary range. If you see it in dollars, convert it to naira. I am of the opinion that it is better to overcharge than to undercharge. Not the one that you're not gonna overcharge by 10 times. So, but I would prefer to overcharge. Then they tell me, oh, this amount that you have given is too much for us. This is how much we have. Than to undercharge, and they'll be like, it is you we have been looking for. Where have you been all our lives? Please come on board. And then you get on board, and then you see that what you're doing is way more than the salary that you're being paid. Right? So please always research price ranges or salary ranges online, so that you have an idea, and be confident about charging as well. If they say, that's too much, oh, it's okay. It's too much. It's okay. It's too much. Because now think about it. And yes, this is one thing I want to mention to you. As an HR, I can't remember what was there last week, but one of the duties of your HR is to make sure that they get the best talents for the least amount. Do you understand me? The best talent for the least amount. So that is their job. They are paid to do that. So the HR is thinking, I want to get the best talent. I just want to make sure I get the best talent. So now it's how do I put it? It's a cost management strategy for the company because thou shalt not cast HR. Thank God I'm not in HR. Thank God I'm not in HR. Oh. But it's a cost management strategy. Think about it this way. You want to go to the market, you want to buy something. As a person, you're not just going to go to you see a pair of shoes and then they tell you it's 15K. You won't just drop money. 15, you won't just drop money. You want to price it to the point where you feel like, oh, the amount that I am paying for this thing is worth the quality of what I am buying. Right? So if there's a shoe that is worth 15K, if you can buy it for 7.5, you will buy it happily. Right? You buy it. Think about it because it's a business. Your company, the company you work for is a business. So they're looking for ways to cut costs. It's a cost management strategy because they don't want to be wasting money. So that's one of the reasons why you need to know the quality of your work, right? You need to know the quality of your work. You need to be able to communicate it confidently. Possibly in the community would have to teach people how to communicate confidently, when you're in interviews, because there are certain times where the amount that you're asking self, the HR can see if you are scared of it. The HR can just sit. The HR they've not said anything. They say, okay, how much would you like to receive for this role? And you're like, 250K. I said, what? 250. So there's a way that you call some prices that HR too will know that sister, you too, it cannot work. So how you also ask is important. Even if you feel like, no, I'm not what. See, ask confidently. Ask confidently. If you're asking for 250, it's 250 I'm asking for. You're asking for 100K. Ask for it with your chest. Even if in your mind you're like, hey, they will not believe. It's still better than when we can tell that this thing is not in your range. Like, can you handle the amount that you're asking for? And this also happens in business as well. Like, so happens with a lot of service people. I've heard stories about people who don't patronize a particular service provider because it was just it doesn't look like he can handle the kind of money he's asking for. Do you get? These are real issues and they happen. So yes, that's just by the way. You need to research, please. Research how much that they are. The price range. It helps if you have somebody in the company already. If you don't, that's absolutely fine, but always research and then find out, okay, this is how much, and then this is an average, and then if they want to negotiate as well, always make sure that it is in your best interest. It is in your best interest. Yes, and another thing you also want to consider when people consider when people are trying to negotiate when they're getting a job, they often just want to negotiate in terms of, oh, that's how they pay, right? But what they don't realize is there are other things that you need to consider before you price or before you give name your price, right? There are things you need to consider. For instance, number one thing that you need to consider is transportation costs. If you live alone, you need to consider housing costs. If you have dependents, you need to consider that. That's how you come across a pricing this is a business term, but that's how you come across a pricing strategy that works for you and that can also work for them. I don't know if you understand. So that you won't wake up every morning and then you're angry that how much are they even paying yourself? Like yeah, and then your money is not enough for transport and all of that. So these are questions that you need to ask yourself. Even if you run a business and then you run a service-based business, sorry, you run a service-based business and you're trying to think about, okay, how do I price my products? How do I price my services? These are the things you focus on. Is it light? Are there things you have to pay for on a monthly basis? Can you incorporate that? Your rent or your office rent, if you have an office, these are things that you have to focus on to arrive at your pricing for your business if you run a service-based business and all of that. So that is it on negotiating when you're coming into an organization. Now let's talk about negotiating when you're in the organization and you need a pay raise or you need a promotion. So now whenever I mention pay raise and promotion, I always I always demarcate them. I always demarcate them if you've noticed. And I demarcate them because sometimes a pay raise may not mean a negotiation, right? And sometimes a sorry, a pay raise may not mean a promotion. I don't know if I got that wrong there at first, but a pay raise may not mean a promotion. They can increase your pay, and it may not be that you've been promoted. And sometimes a promotion may not mean a pay raise. They can promote you, but it's not coming with more money. So I often always differentiate with them whenever I am talking about it. But when you want to negotiate, rule number one is you need to have a track record. You need to have a track record of your work. You need to have a track record of your work. Like, it's so important because if you have a track record of your work, you will be able to negotiate for better. And when it comes to track record of your work, please listen to this. You're not just creating a track record of your work and showing them a track record of your work based on what you have done. It's not just what you have done. It has to be with respect to your KPIs. When you get to a company, or even if you're in a company or wherever it is, you must always have a list of KPIs, because without KPIs they will not be able to adequately measure your growth. And it's a mistake it's a problem a lot of people make. Like, they don't give you KPIs. You just know that, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But there's no way they can actually measure that, okay, you've actually done what you're supposed to do, so we can promote you or give you a pay raise. Please, are we together? Are we together? Are you guys learning anything? Can you guys hear me? KPI means key performance index. So KPI, there are a list of things that you need to. Yes, key performance indicators, Jared. Thank you very much, Adeomi. So there are a list of things that you're going to be measured with or measured by. Right. There are things you need to be measured by in the company. So I mean, a number of us don't even know what it means. So you can see how crucial this is. So when you're entering into a company, the typical thing, the regular thing is for them to ask you, forget to give you a list of things that you're supposed to achieve. Oh, number one, you're supposed to do this, number two, number three, number four, number five, number this thing. But if those things do not exist, if those indicators are not there, if they don't give you indicators, what it means is that there's nothing they can measure you with. So if a promotion or a pay raise is supposed to come based on how much you have achieved or from those indicators, and you don't even have the indicators in the first place, do you know that it's like a fucked up situation? Because how will we know that you've actually been working? So understanding your indicators, your KPIs, understanding those your key performance indicators will also help you to focus on what matters. It would help you understand that there's a difference between doing and doing what counts in the workplace. Do you get there's a difference between doing, because you can be doing everything. It's like when people tell you that there's a difference between being busy and being productive. That is exactly how it is. It's like there's no way they can measure you. There's no way we can. Okay, even if you're whoever is trying to support you or whoever is trying to speak for you says, oh, she has actually been working a lot. She does. The question is, okay, so can we? How have you been able to measure it? Has she increased sales by 50%? Has she increased impressions by 30%? Has she done this by 20%? How exactly can we know what she has done or what he has done to warrant a pay raise? So you see, as in a lot of places, there's no indicator, there's no KPI. So you just feel like I'm doing everything, I'm doing everything, I'm doing A, I'm doing B, I'm doing C, I'm doing B, I'm doing everything. And upon everything, especially if you work with some people, upon everything next, they'll still look at you and be like, ah, you not do anything, and in your head you feel like you're being overwhelmed. You're not doing very well. You feel like you're doing everything, but for them it's like you're not doing anything, because sometimes if you're doing everything, it's not an indicator that you're actually doing something that counts. So it's so important. You need KPIs, right? And this is mostly for organized organizations. I understand that sometimes, right? Sometimes you have some organizations where they're like they are KPIs. Please, they are KPIs that you're measured by, but you see that roles are often fluid, especially with all these tech startups. A lot of tech startups, roles are often fluid, right? That's an exception. Just see that as an exception, but always ask for KPIs. And when you're doing your track records or you are analyzing your track record, it should not just be, oh, I caught 15 people this week, or I brought in 15 new customers this week. It has to be against something. So if in your KPIs you're supposed to bring 50 customers per week, right? And then they're bringing 15 customers per week. Because there's a KPI that you still have work to do. But if there's no KPI, right, and you bring in 15 customers, you'll be feeling yourself like, 15 customers, actual human beings, like I would say, actual human beings, I tried. Because there's no target, right? So if you don't have KPIs, any number would bear the semblance of progress. Meanwhile, it may be nothing. It may not count to the organization that you're working with. So please always ask for KPIs, so that when you're doing track records, you have to meet with your team lead or your supervisor or whoever you report to, or your boss, maybe your CEO, depending on how big the organization is. If you want to go and meet them and you want to ask for a pay raise, you'll be able to ask for pay raise with your chest. That's okay. I want to I want to get, I mean, I've gotten this done before. I've gotten these and things that I've done. And I learned it. There are a lot of things I've learned the hard way. And one of the things that inspired me doing this course was because there were things like I had to learn how to make mistakes to learn. I had to make mistakes to learn, and I didn't realize that they were actually major things. I thought they were just specific to me. Maybe Rivka just makes a lot of mistakes, but I realized that they were actually more popular than I thought. And I had I had a job where I wanted to. I felt like I was doing so much. Right, I feel like I'm doing a lot. Too. I'm managing social media. I'm attending to customers, client relations, partnerships, everything. And then I wanted to ask my boss for a raise, and he just asked me one question: "What have you been doing?" And I'm like, and he's like, "What have you been doing?" And that was how I had to leave, because truly I'd been doing a lot, but I hadn't been doing a lot that could be measured. So I had been doing a lot, but not enough to be measured enough to say the numbers are there to see. So you need to always, I mentioned this earlier, you need to always think in terms of numbers and percentages. 70% this thing, 80%, 30%. You need to know all of the numbers. I was able to achieve this and this. I was able to achieve this and this. So when you need to negotiate with your company, you have something to back, or you're not going there to beg them. You're going there because you have value, you've delivered value to the organization, and if they care about you, or they care about keeping you on the team or in the company, they'll want to match your demands, or at least find a reasonable level for for both of you to meet, or a common ground for both of you to meet. So that is it about negotiation. And yes, we've come to the end of the class. Does anybody have any questions they want me to address before we call this a day or be a whatever? Does anybody have a question they want me to address? So questions, comments, reservations, confessions. Yes, please ask your question, Kemi. I think this is the shortest class we've had. Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, so let me know what one thing you guys have learned. And so while I'm waiting for, okay, Adekunle David on positioning, you have a question. Okay. If you have questions, please ask. Yes, we're finished first semester. Fadilat Adeyemi, is it possible to set KPIs for yourself if the organization doesn't give one? Man, I would always be up for organizations giving their KPIs, because they're the ones who will measure. It's not it's not you who will measure. Sure, you get, yeah, they're the ones who will measure. So I'm always up for them setting KPIs. But if they do not normally give KPIs, right? You can find a way to ask whoever you report to, or find, if you can, find what's the average level of achievements they have or have existed. So what is the minimum expectation? So if you call customers, for instance, do they expect that, oh, every week you're supposed to call 50 customers? Is that like the regular expectation from the company or even in the industry? So if you're able to find out what is expected, what is the minimum expectation or the average expectation for the industry or for the company, if you're able to speak with somebody who has gone ahead of you, who has been promoted before you, if you're able to speak with them and say, okay, what are these I'm supposed to be doing, you would have you could have an insight into what you should set as your personal KPIs. But KPIs should not be, don't just pull them out of the air that, oh, this is what I want to be achieving, this is what I want to be achieving, because it may not be enough for the company. So even if you want to set KPIs on your own, by yourself, with yourself, always make sure that it has to do in one way or the other with what is in the industry or the company. I hope I answered your question, Fadilat. Timothy says, how can KPIs be efficiently measured? So KPIs are measured in terms of, activity versus time. Activity versus time. So your KPIs will normally ask, oh, yeah, you're supposed to do this, achieve this within this time. So you can have a personal spreadsheet. In a manifest book, it calls it a brag sheet. But yes, this is not exactly a brag sheet. Let's call it a personal KPI sheet. So have a spreadsheet, and then for week one, so week one, um, or you can have. I don't know if you know how to create. You should know how to create. What am I talking about? You should know how to create spreadsheets. So you have like the SN, right? One, two, three. You have the item. So the item is what your KPIs are, right? So KPIs, bring in 50 customers per month. That is a KPI. So week one, how many customers did you bring? That's you brought in 50 customers. That means you can do the percentage analysis and see, okay, I got 15%, I got 20%, I got 70% of my targets for that week. Week two, week three, week four. Then at the end of the month, I mean, you could have 4 or 5 weeks in a month. You are able to collect what you achieved for each, not just that one, but for each of the KPIs you have that have to do with numbers. You are able to collect all of those ones and then arrive at a number and a percentage, a number you can actually convert into a percentage of the things that you achieve. So if you were supposed to bring in 50 customers into the company and then you brought in 25 customers at the end of the month, it means that you achieved 50% of your target. If you brought in 50 customers, it means you achieved 100%. If you brought in 100 customers, it means that you achieved more than 100% of your target. So you can do that for KPIs that have to do with numbers. For KPIs that do not have to do with numbers, you can also outline them. Okay, so you're supposed to do this, do this, do this, do this. Did you achieve this? If you achieved this, what were the resulting implications of what you did? So that's how you can efficiently measure your own KPIs. Now, I want you to know that the reason you want to measure your KPIs are for two reasons. So that number one, you'll be able to negotiate for a higher pay or a promotion in your company. And number two, you'll also be able to negotiate better when it comes to other companies, when you're applying for other jobs. Do you understand me? When you're applying for other jobs, because when you're trying to get a new job, they want to know what you've achieved before. And this is how you are able to say, okay, my KPIs were this and this and this and this and this and this. Right, these were my KPIs, and then this were the things I was able to achieve. So it gives you a that's how you can actually develop a brag sheet. These were the things I achieved. I achieved 50% month on month revenue for the period I was there, and blah and blah and blah. So these are two ways that your KPIs can be efficiently measured for you personally. So negotiating for a higher pay or a promotion in your organization, or trying to get a new, better paying job. Your company, like for organizations that have systems, also measure KPIs on their own end. Do you understand? They measure KPIs on their own end. They know if you're doing well. Usually, if you're not doing well, they will call you and give you, let's say that we're giving you 3 more months to up your game. But they are always measuring. If they give you KPIs, they are measuring. So it's measured in two ways, on your part and then on the company's part. I hope I got that right. Another way that you can also do this is that if they don't give you regular appraisals, you can always facilitate appraisals with whoever you're reporting to. Tell them you want to schedule a meeting with them so that you can ask them questions about how you are doing. It shows that you're proactive and shows that you care about the job as well. So my God, there are questions though. I didn't even know there were questions down. Okay, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Okay, so on positioning, what if you are working and the results are visible? Is it compulsory you always talk about it in every conversation, especially in an organization that does not have board meetings? No, you do not have to talk about it in every conversation. If you do that, you have people who will be looking at you like your own is too much. No. So, what if you're working and the results are visible? Is it compulsory? No, you don't have to talk about it in every conversation. You just have to be sensitive to the conversations that matter with the people who matter. Do you understand? Conversations that matter with the people who matter. Not just you just be talking about it. Oh, I did this. I did no, no, no. The conversations that matter with the people who matter. So, and you must know the people who matter. I hope I answered your question, Adekule. Matter says, please, when negotiating with the HR and they are stating their prices, how do you present your own price? Please, I appreciate an illustration or example. So whenever you're interviewing for a job, the HR does not or usually like tell you, "Oh, this is how much we have." Do you understand? They would ask you, how much are you looking to get for this role? So you are to tell them how much you want to get. Oh, I'm looking at getting 100K for this particular role. And then they are supposed to give you something that is called a counter offer. Right? They give you a counter offer and they tell you, we have 70K for this role. If 70K is enough for you, you've done everything, and you feel like, okay, 70K is fine, you accept it. If it is not enough, you reach out to them and tell them, I can't do this. Sometimes the counter offer is done right there on the table. Sometimes it is done after you've left. So if it is done right there on the table during the interview, they're saying we have 70K. You simply just tell them that, oh, I've actually considered what I bring to the table. You have to learn how to do this. I bring a lot of things to the table. The value I bring to the table, they are amazing. I'm going to be doing this and this for your company. I consider that this amount that I'm giving is the least that I can go. And then they'll try, if they see how well you are going to bring it to the company, they'll try to find a middle ground basically that may work for you and also work for them. And if it doesn't work for you, don't be afraid to say no to an offer that is not. If you feel like, oh, I can't do 80K at all, like I can't, don't take up the offer so that you not regret it later. But if it's something that you feel like, okay, I can manage reasonably, I can deal with, I've considered my needs for the month, all the things I need to get, buy, and all of that, and this is fine. That's absolutely, you can take it up. So they usually ask you to name your own price, then they bring in their own price and say, okay, this is what we have, and they tell them this is what I deserve based on what I am bringing into your company. I hope I answered your question, Mata. So Kemi says, um, I think I lost. So, so Kemi says for something in line, okay, yeah, for something in line with a remote writing work that didn't give KPIs from their end from the start, what metrics would you say will make for relevant KPIs to build a track record to negotiate later? Hmm. You have a remote writing work that did not give you KPIs from the start. What metrics would you say make for relevant KPIs to build a track record to negotiate later? First of all, build a record of what you do. Then, secondly, reach out to them and ask for KPIs. If you don't have KPIs, you can always reach out to them and ask. Ask for KPIs. Ask for KPIs. Please just ask. And if they feel like they say, oh, we don't have any this thing, ask them if you can, draw up something and then share with them. That's a lot because it's a really dangerous level to be working for a remote writing work. Writing is even crazy because you can do 2,000 words today, do 5,000 words next week, and then if there are no KPIs, they are going to be treated on the same level. So yes, KPIs are currencies on LinkedIn. I agree. So, Boluwatife says, is there a particular time interval before you can negotiate for a pay raise? I have a friend who has negotiated a pay raise every 3 months that she has been at the company. Every 3 months, like every quarter. That's a quarter. And she has it's like they have quarterly appraisals. This is how you've done. So it's like as they're doing quarterly appraisals for her, she's also bringing her own work and saying, I've done this, can you increase my salary? And I can practically tell you that for 70% of the time that she has negotiated a pay raise with the accurate numbers, she has gotten a raise every single. No, not I don't say every single time. 70% of the time. So the amount she's earning now, is more than 100%. of what she was earning when she first joined, and it's not even up. It's not been up to a year. I think it's roughly a year. So honestly, left to me, please negotiate as often as possible. I mean, but look at the how often do you guys have appraisals, or how often? But quarterly is often great. Quarterly is great. Sometimes you may feel like, oh, maybe it's too sudden for you to negotiate a pay raise. Maybe you don't want them to look at you like, oh, she likes money too much and all of that. You may say, okay, you want to actually chill for a while. You may also want to consider the industry. Yeah, sorry, the company rather. Some companies don't give pay raises that quickly. This is a multinational, so I understand that it could be like that. But some companies don't give pay raises like that. They may want to wait for 1 year. So maybe like 1 year, if you feel like 3 months is too audacious, but 1 year on the average is fine. I hope I answered that question. Um, yes, do not say yes when you mean to say no. It usually ends in resentment. Okay, so I think I have answered all questions. Oh, that's okay. All right, so yeah. So I want to say thank you guys. We've come to the end of the Young Professionals Advancement Program. They're about Ahmed Wool on this call. Please, I want you guys to just stick to your orbs, share everything that you've learned, the experience so far. Your on Twitter, the hashtag YPAP with OL. You can tag me, you can mention me, I'll reply, I'll retweet. So I want to. How do you guys feel though? Let me take random feedback. How do you guys feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? Getting to this point. Akin Sola says, I just got a job and I am on a 3 month probation. Can I ask for a pay raise after the 3 months? You're on a no, you can't. You can't. Oh, hey, no. Please, I wouldn't advise that. I wouldn't advise that. Please, you're still on probation, so leave the probation first. Yeah, leave the probation first. So I hope this was really, really impactful. I believe that it was for your, for your career growth so far. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you for those of you who have been silent in your arms. Well, I'm not going to say anything. And I also want to use this opportunity to say a big thank you to the orb reps. I mean, these guys did an amazing job. Samuel Oluwatosin, Tolulope Oyejimi, Ayomide Ilegbemi, David Olufemi, Abigail. All right, so I'm so glad to hear. I'm so glad to hear. So I'm really glad. I'm glad. So yes, I also wanted to mention that we shared a form for everyone to submit their questions some weeks back, and like a couple of weeks back, and then we called it the YPAP open house, and then I got a number of questions. So I'm going to be responding to those questions in terms of podcasts, or maybe like articles, but mostly in terms of podcasts, so that I need to be able to explain and teach. So we're going to be sharing them. If you want to remain in your orbs, that's fine. If the orbs are still existing, we'll keep sharing links and relevant resources in all of the orbs as they come. There's a podcast. They're really interesting questions, like really, really interesting questions that I am looking forward to answering. There are so many interesting questions. I think you should stay tuned, basically. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed doing this, and this was stretching for me. This was really stretching for me, and I'm so glad that we were able to come through to the end against all odds. So thank you so much, guys, and have a good night. Bye.